Shut up and sit down.
Welcome everyone to the Reddit iRacing League Season 24, Round 9 of the Reddit iRacing League. I am so excited to be here tonight. I am your soul and hero announcer, Aaron Thacker. Unfortunately, my other commentator, David Haynes, was commentating with Sky News today for the Formula 1 race, so unfortunately, David could not join me for the booth. We have our grand finale tonight. We are at Le Mans. This is going to be a fantastic race, and we have the full field of GTE cars. We've got the Ferrari 488, we've got the RSR Porsche, we've got the Ford GT, and my goodness, we have got the big boy, the mate, the BMW M Series is out here tonight with quite a few drivers running that. And on top of that, we have got ourselves a heck of a championship fight on our hands. The top 4 drivers are separated by 12 points. That is Alex Albert is leading with 277 points. Nate Franklin 270, Giovanni Romano 268, and Devin Peters with 263. So right now we have all these drivers in the session trying to finish up their qualifying laps, and this is championship time here in the Reddit iRacing League, as this is the final round of Season 24. We're just now finishing up qualifying, and on top of the sheet is Thomas Ellison with a blazing 347.8, and that is a 3-minute lap. It takes a bit of a ways to go around this beautiful circuit. We are starting in this race around dusk, so we're going to start with a bit of a sunset, and by the end of this race we are going to see some headlights. We're going to see some night driving, so these guys are going to need to make sure that they are using utmost caution when they are driving around the circuit tonight when those lights go out, because this track does get tricky. Now, this is a 1-hour race, so a pit stop will be required for these boys tonight, and we are fuel limited to 80%. Right now, we have a full grid of 18 cars of all these guys, so slightly limited than we usually see in the Reddit Racing series, because this is a lot of paid content, and that is one of the fantastic things about the Reddit iRacing League, is we do our best to run free content to make sure everybody can participate. But this could be a little bit light on the field, but I don't think we're going to be short on action. Now let's take a quick look with just a few minutes left in this session of where our current grid is looking at. Thomas Ellison is on the top of the field here with a fantastic 347.8, and just behind that is Antonio Alvarez with a just as equally fast 347.997, followed by Jeff Tyler. My goodness, we are so pleased for him to come out here tonight, followed by Giovanni Romano in P4. Chris Flamion with a fantastic time, rounding out our top 5 with a 349 dead. Chris Flamion, not really known for his Le Mans type racing, but Flamion is right in that top group there, followed by Justin Hall, Alexander Bueller, Nate Franklin, and Devin Peters, and John Patrick will round out our top 10. David Hall in P11, Hunter Reef P12, Justin Lamons P13, Jordan Babcock. Bab Nations is here for a strong recovery drive after just a disastrous last week. I think Babs Nation really looks forward to a stronger drive tonight. P15, Philip Linden. P16, Jonathan Dixon. P17, Neverlift, Kyle Smith. And Alex Albert appears to be having some issues getting down a qualifying lap, and unfortunately, Alex has not put down a time yet. So we're going to have to see if Alex can get a time, because he was very quick in the practice session, but it doesn't look like Alex is going to have time to get himself a pit, so he will be in the back. Now, we have just a few minutes left before qualifying is all finished up here, guys, so I am very excited to get this race started. Again, I want to reiterate, there are big championship implications in this race. As I said, our top 4 drivers are separated by less than 15 points, so there's going to be some very exciting driving. So guys are finishing up here. Qualifying is officially done, and we are going to grid here. This is going to be a rolling start. As you see, we've got the sun a bit high in the sky right now, but that will be dropping down very soon. see the cars gridding up now. Giovanni Romano appears to be the first car on the grid in that beautiful Porsche RSR, that very nice livery there. And we've got, who else we got gridding up here? We've got Christopher Fleming has gridded up. Alexander Bueller. Looks like we got a Porsche, Ferrari, Ford, Porsche. And our first driver appears to be up in the high field as Hunter Reeve is going to be the big boy. Hunter Reeve is currently sitting tonight in our P12 position. I think a lot of guys are still trying to figure out this car in terms of setup. I think there's a few braking issues. You really get to know some very interesting sounds that come out of this BMW. Let's remind ourselves that this is a turbocharged V8 putting out 560 horsepower, and this car is about as long as the state of Tennessee, so it is very well built for this track. The Ford is also very competitive here. To that long wheelbase is going to really let this track really let those cars stretch their legs. So I think we're all very excited. See, everybody is here. I think probably the disadvantaged car could possibly be the Ferrari, but the Ferrari does so well over the curbs, and you can really do a number on some of these curbs here at Mon and really skip away without getting any sort of a course cut. So let's see if we've got who else we're still waiting for to settle in. Looks like the majority of the front of our grid is almost in. Our pole sitter, Tom Ellison, in that HJ Motorsport gold and blue livery. I'm very anxious to see Tom. Unfortunately, does not have the preferred line into turn one. That is going to go to Antonio Alvarez. We're going to keep a close eye on how they handle that, because that is a very dicey first corner, coming with a slight right bend and then coming in to a hard left and then a hard right chicane. So I'm very anxious to see how those guys manage that. And so those Dunlop curves are difficult, followed by the S's and the Tete Rouge, and then all the way down to the Force chicane, blazing down into the Michelin chicane, and then followed by Mulsanne corner, leading to the very exciting Indianapolis Arnage, and then followed by the famous Porsche curves, which you are seeing the guys roll through right now. This is a very difficult section. You really feel like you can go flat out in here, but this is a very delicate section. You really want to clip the very edge of the end of that curve there. Watch out for that grass. You catch some grass, that will ruin your night. And then here, this is just a battle of the bold. How far wide can you take this without tapping the wall? Catch some curb as you watch Tom Ellison demonstrate what he wants to do in this section here. Then you come all the way back down, diving in, and then give yourself a nice lift here, and just want to hold this as tight as you possibly can right here to make sure you're getting yourself a excellent approach to this corner, because you have negative camber coming up to this corner right here. This is a corner you can get wrong very easily, and you go out to those yellow stripes, you will get a course cut if you take that too far out there. So that was a karting corner, so be very, very careful right there. Boys are coming up to the final straight just before the pit stop entrance. This is also very critical, very difficult pit entrance here. Heavy, tight chicane. Looks like Jeff Tyler is right on Thomas Ellison, letting him know base car is in. That Porsche RSR is in. We are waiting for Thomas Ellison to guide them through the final Ford chicane. Very slow here. Hope everybody behaves themselves. Tony Albert is really holding back. Jeff Tyler needs to be careful. He does not get a slowdown here. All right, now we have a green flag. We are going with the final round of Season 24, Round 9 at Le Mans with the GTE cars. And Thomas Ellison got a fantastic start. My goodness, he has already put out a very good lead on Jeff Tyler. And Thomas Ellison working. It appears to be clean. Fantastic start by everyone. Gonna do my best to keep my eye on all the battles through the field here. Again, I am solo man in the booth, but we're watching right now. Antonio Alvarez is very tight on Jeff Tyler. Goes a little bit wide. You do have to be careful coming out of Tete Rouge right there, because you can get a slowdown. Now let's keep an eye on these speeds, because the draft here will be extremely beneficial to many of these drivers. And I'm going down the field to see where our first BMW is, and it looks like it's Hunter Reeve. And P11 is going to be our first BMW. Right now, our winner on speed is Justin Hall. Hit 185 going down the straight. What a massive run by Justin Hall in that Ford GT. Everybody going through the Forza chicane here, nice and clean. You can get a course cut in that section right there, but it looks like all these boys are clean. I'm keeping an eye on the back of the field. Alex Albert, he did start second to last. Alex Albert is already up 3 spots into P14, so nice little, I wouldn't say recovery drive. We're still very early into this race, but very good effort by Alex Albert making his way up, and he's got his eyes on Jordan Babcock in the big boy BMW right there. He's going to take a quick peek through the Ford chicane, or excuse me, for the Michelin chicane, and he is going to do it. Jordan Babcock with a big lift. Let's Alex Albert by, and Alex Albert grabs another spot, up 4 spots. But right now, let's work our way back up to the front. These guys continue to be in an extremely tight draft, and I am looking at Antonio Alvarez, who's right on the bumper of Jeff Tyler there, entering this corner here. You want to swing this corner as wide as you possibly can. Mulsanne corner is a very difficult corner. Those guys have taken it very, very well. So nice job, everyone. Staying clean, I do want to say that we do have a fast repair in this race. So you guys have 2 fast repairs. So anybody makes a whoopsie, makes a bad decision out there, we do have fast repairs. However, the tow on this track is absolutely brutal. You tow here, this is almost a 4-minute lap. So you take a tow in here, you're going to be out there for a very long time. Jeff Tyler, very aggressive going into Indianapolis right there, now going through Arnage, and they are going to make their way to the Porsche curves. Jeff Tyler is giving Tom Ellison no break at all as he holds himself within half a second. We're going to work my way back down the field to see where some of these other battles are. It looks like Giovanni Romano, Justin Hall, Devin Peters, and Nate Franklin are all in another big pile. They are 3 Fords are chasing down Giovanni Romano in that Porsche. As we go to the Porsche curves here, watch, you want to clip that right there, swing it out nice and wide, clip that there, and how brave can you be? Giovanni Romano, not too brave here, and a nice lift. You're going to hug this corner as much as you can. Hug it. Maybe even clip some grass, and then drive it very carefully here. Fantastic job by Giovanni Romano going through there. Now we are still watching this front group. Jeff Tyler remains behind Tom Ellison, who is quickly, closely followed by Antonio Alvarez. These guys are coming through to complete their first lap of this race, so fantastic job by everybody. It looks like Justin Hall, unfortunately, is falling down our field here. Justin Hall, oh my goodness, Justin Hall has had a big issue entering the Ford chicane. Looks like that was an unforced error there. Yeah, he was being pushed extremely hard by that Ford GT right behind him. Just got very loose, and plenty of runoff there entering the pit area. So Justin Hall, unfortunately, has been our first victim to a heavy braking area. So Justin Hall is getting himself straightened out and is going to get back on track. Looks like he's going to fall in behind Jordan Babcock in that BMW M8. Oh my goodness, and Justin Hall is unfortunately spun again, entering the Dunlop curve. So Justin Hall just having a very difficult night right now. Maybe some brake bias issues. So hopefully Justin can get that corrected. It looks like we do have some cars in the pits. We have Justin Lemons, Kyle Smith, and Alex Albert. All 3 are in the pits. Trying to figure out just on time. This likely is a planned stop. These guys need to be careful. This is an 80% fill. So if they can do this with just a couple laps into this race, that would be very interesting on the fuel strategy. But looks like back up here, Antonio Alvarez has made a pass on Jeff Tyler, and I'm trying to see where he's done. Yeah, he's just done it in that first straight before the chicane. Looks like he just got a very good drive out of a Tête Rouge and just muscled past Jeff Tyler. I'm sure Jeff Tyler is gonna not be happy with that already, but plenty of time left in this race. We're just 50, but that has allowed Tom Ellison to get a very sizable gap. Tom Ellison is up on him almost a full second, so Antonio Alvarez has got some work to do to get up there. Let's work back down the field, and Devin Peters, who is now in P5, started P9 all the way up 4 spots right now, and he is being hunted by Giovanni Romano who is unfortunately down 2 spots. So he may have had a bit of an issue, may have fallen out of draft, maybe even taken a course cut. So Giovanni Romano not where he wants to be. Now let's keep in mind that these two are battling for 3rd position in points. Giovanni Romano is in P3, Devin Peters is in P4, and they are separated just by 5 points. So right now, this is not really where he wants to be. But let's also keep in mind Alex Albert, who is currently leading the championship. Alex Albert has taken a pit, and Alex Albert is in P17. And oh my goodness, it looks like Alex Albert is out of the car. This is championship implications. Alex Albert appears to be out of the car, and I would have to go back and see, but he appears to be out of this race. Wow, so this is really going to shake things up, and right now that would potentially put Nate Franklin in the seat to potentially put him in championship winning position. So let's keep an eye on that of where Nate Franklin is on track right now. Nate Franklin is sitting in P7 behind Giovanni Romano and Devin Peters. So right now, Nate Franklin is in a very favorable position. If he can stay here, I believe he will win the championship with Alex Albert. Seemed to have run into an issue and is out of this race. I wish I had some time to go back and check, but I really want to stay with the action right here. It looks like, let's go back. Yeah, let's go back up to the front with Thomas Ellis and Antonio Alvarez, as Antonio has made some very quick work. Antonio Alvarez has gone purple in 5 of 7 sectors on this lap, so he is hunting Tom Ellison right now with a very, very quick lap. Antonio's some fantastic speed, so he has closed that gap from half a second at the start of this lap all the way down to just under 8/10 right here. So both of these guys taking a little bit of a different line. Thomas Ellison going very wide, getting a little bit loose coming out of that section right there. So Thomas Ellison needs to be very careful coming out of karting. Coming into the Ford chicane, entering this final sector. This is another sector where you can really take a lot of curb. And whoa, Antonio goes very deep into the sector. Yeah, I apologize, everyone. My camera was just a little behind there. So yeah, Antonio Alvarez again still working his way, but he is unfortunately. Oh, Tom Ellison with the big moment coming out of a Tetris right there, a little bit loose. Let's watch his speed. Yeah, Tom Ellison is down about 3 or 4 miles an hour with a very poor exit coming through Tetris there. Antonio Alvarez, we're watching the speeds now. He's 4 miles an hour up, 5 miles an hour up. Almost, yeah, he's got a very big run. I think he's probably just going to stay behind him there. It's probably a wise choice. And let's just follow these guys through this chicane here. Tony Alvarez taking a very good line, staying right on Thomas Ellison. He is not being shy about it. He wants this position. He wants this position early. So he is 2/10. He's really going to possibly make a move into the Michelin chicane. And no, he's going to lift. He's going to lift. So Antonio Alvarez is going to stay behind Thomas Ellison on the back straight here. So maybe he'll be looking for an opportunity after the Michelin chicane, possibly in Mulsanne corner. Is Thomas Ellison he's really hitting late apexes here, but I think Antonio Alvarez is really going for the optimal line. So we're going to need to keep an eye on how these two are treating some of these very tight chicanes very differently. Looks like behind that, our closest battle is going to be between P6, P7, and P8. Chris Fleming, Nate Franklin, and John Patrick. Those guys. And right now we're seeing Chris Fleming is side by side with Nate Franklin. And Nate Franklin is going to take away P6. And yeah, Chris Fleming braking very early. Don't want to cause an issue to this very tight Mulsanne corner. But Nate Franklin, my goodness, he keeps moving up these spots. This is going to be a championship-winning race for Nate Franklin. So very strong driver. Right? Nate Franklin is up 2 spots. Not quite as high as our man in P4, Devin Peters, who's up 5 positions tonight. But watching right here, it looks like Chris Fleming does not appear to be looking to keep that position for Nate Franklin. He's going to go side by side as they're going to enter Indianapolis here. Yeah, he's going to take that back. So Nate Franklin is back in P7 where he was just a few corners ago and took it for 1 corner. Let's move up to Giovanni Romano and Devin Peters. Giovanni Romano is running very strong. However, he is down 1 spot. Devin Peters also in P4 here, up 5 spots. He went purple in Sector 2 and really blew the doors off Giovanni Mono with almost 4/10 on that previous sector. So great work. Right now, it looks like Antonio Alvarez and Thomas Ellison are still separated by just about 6/10. Fastest lap right now of the race is going to Antonio Alvarez. So great work on his part. As I said, he's looking very quick out there, but I think we're going to have to be watching some pit strategy, as we do have 4 cars that have pitted. So unfortunately, it looks like we have 2 cars out. Kyle Smith and Alex Albert are both out of the car, and their race could be done. Jordan Babcock has also taken his pit, and Justin Lamons has also taken his pit. So good bunch of group here. Let's see, right now, looks like the gap between the first 2 has spread out just a little bit. Let's work our way down the field to P11 and P12 between Hunter Reeve and Justin Hall. These guys are coming up to the Ford chicane right now. Hunter Reeve is up 1 spot. Justin Hall, you saw with some very unfortunate spins earlier. He's down 6 spots right now. He's really on a very strong recovery drive. Justin is a very strong driver. I've raced it in several leagues with him. He is very familiar with this Ford. I think there's some very unfortunate spins at the start of this race, so hopefully Justin can get it back together and continue strong. Let's work up to another battle here. John Patrick and Alexander Bueller. This is a whole train of cars here. We've got John Patrick, Alexander Bueller, John Patrick, Chris Flamin, and Nate Franklin. These guys, they're a bit spread out on track. Oh, we got who's slowing down? It looks like Chris Flamin may have taken a course cut. He was very slow exiting Tetrouge. I'm going to do a quick replay here because he was right on the heels of Nate Franklin. He's coming up to Tetrouge, gets a good amount of curb. Yeah, it looks like Chris Flamin just went way too wide going into Tetrouge, and unfortunately he has lost a whole bucket load of spots there. So he was very comfortable in P6 and has unfortunately found himself back down to P9 right now. So that leaves Alexander Bueller with a very good opportunity to potentially take it to John Patrick, and he's going to, as they're going to approach the 4th chicane at a little over 175 miles an hour, and they're going to slam on the brakes at about the 150 marker. Break it down, clip this curb as much as you can, drive as much curb as you can here, and be very generous on the exit curb there. And Alexander Bueller running a fantastic line through the 4th chicane right there, and he is now going to be hunting down Nate Franklin. So it looks like this is going to continue to be our best battle on the track. Thomas Ellison and Antonio Alvarez. Thomas Ellison has pulled himself about a 1.5 second gap, so Thomas Ellison has refound his pace. So far, he was down almost to half a second at one point there to Antonio Alvarez, but he has regained that. But it looks like this battle between Chris Flamin and John Patrick and Alexander Bueller is going to be our tightest battle on track. Also keeping a close eye. Yeah, this got 4 cars here really running in that draft. We got Chris Flamin, who is benefiting from all those. He had 181 miles an hour diving into Indianapolis here. This hard left corner. You can really take a ton of curb there. There's tons of gravel on the outside there, but it does not really upset the car. So you can really swing that car in and get a fantastic run through that. Looks like we are, oh my goodness, Jeff Tyler has caught up to Antonio Alvarez. He is within 2/10, and they are fast approaching the Porsche curves here. Who's got the better line? The Porsche, namely after this corner. I don't entirely know who's going to have the better line here, but Antonio Alvarez taking that nice and wide. Jeff Tyler being very delicate on the throttle. This here, you really just kind of tap the brakes to get the car to feel and turn a little bit. Jeff Tyler did lose a bit of time there. Maybe he may be a little heavy or maybe light on the downforce versus Antonio Alvarez may have a little more confidence going through that sector. So again, keeping an eye on this battle here as Jeff Tyler is very, very quick, picking up again almost a second on Antonio Alvarez on that last lap. And you really watch those guys hammer the corner out of that final sequencer. You could really get a whole bunch of curb and get yourself a fantastic run as you take a long sweeping right corner into the Dunlop curves. And this is always a very difficult section. You come to the top of this hill, you really can't see where you need to go. Clip that there, clip that there. Great drive by Jeff Tyler. So going down the field. We still have no other pitters as Jeff Tyler and Antonio Alvarez. This is going to continue to be our best race on track. Really watching Jeff Tyler, what he's going to try and do here. Jeff Tyler gets a very good run. Antonio Alvarez did get a great run. I don't know if he gets, yes, Antonio Alvarez has gotten to slow down. He tapped the brakes coming out of that section right there. So unfortunately, just a small unforced error by Antonio Alvarez. I'm going to go back and see how much he actually went off. It's so deceiving entering the Tetris there. You really are not sure how wide you can take it. Sometimes you think you've done it. Sometimes you think you've gotten too far. But, oh, it looks like Antonio Alvarez on the inside curb. He took too much inside curb. He looks like he was okay on the exit. But, man, that slowdown is really going to cost him. But it looks like he has pulled his way back up and is pulling that draft back in. Jeff Tyler with a very defensive line heading into the Forza chicane. That is far from the preferred line here. So we're going to watch if Antonio Alvarez is going to just, oh, excuse me, they're approaching the Michelin chicane. So, yeah, Jeff Tyler is going to lift and go ahead and give that spot back to Antonio Alvarez. And watch who gets the better exit here. Antonio Alvarez, very strong exit, not quite as good for Jeff Tyler. So that was a very good drive there. So unfortunately, we don't have any more pitters. It looks like Jordan Babcock is back on track right now. Jordan Babcock is a little bit by himself, but that does not mean he will quit, because Jordan Babcock, Babs Nation, wants to see him out on track, and he will continue to drive for his fans. Jeff Tyler again with another very good run coming out of that sector right there. He's tight. He's tight on Antonio Alvarez. There, you could put a piece of paper in between these two right now, but that's probably about it. This is not necessarily a section where you can scare somebody. There's a move that Jeff Tyler is known for. He will scare the crap out of you, dive to the inside, not actually get side by side with you, but we call it Jeffing, and Jeff is doing his best to possibly give Antonio Alvarez the Jeff with about 40 minutes left in this race. But Antonio Alvarez appears to be invisible or impervious to that move. It looks like Alexander Buehler looks to have had an issue. Yes, he is facing the wrong way on the track right now. And yeah, it looks like Alexander Buehler headed into Indianapolis, gets a little too hot, spins, and then gets sideways. And then, oh my goodness, he gets collected by the number 7 of John Patrick. Oh, so that was a very big hit. And then Buehler coming back on track. Got to be very careful as other cars go by. So, unfortunate incident for Buehler there. He got a great drive going, but yeah, you got to watch out for Indianapolis. A little too heavy on the trail braking. The car will go right around, and John Patrick did get collected on that. I'm not sure how much damage he has, but this is not a track where you want to take aero damage. And unfortunately, John Patrick gave a very good hit to Alexander Buehler. I imagine Buehler probably has some damage. John Patrick, yeah, he's going to go ahead and dive into the pit lane. We'll watch him dive into the pit lane here so you see exactly how complex this is. You can get a course cut right there with that. So coming in here, and yeah, John Patrick is going to come in, likely take his faster pair. Very smart move. Still lots of racing to do. And also Alexander Buehler as well, likely going to take one of those 2 faster pairs. So very smart move for both of these guys. They are far from out of this race. There's still plenty of time to go. So getting this fast repair done, getting the appropriate fuel, and getting the aero fixed on the car is going to be the most important part. So right now I'm trying to see where we have our closest battles on track. It looks like our closest is probably going to be Giovanni Romano and Devin Peters. Giovanni Romano in P5 and Devin Peters in P4. Giovanni Romano is a little bit too far back for the draft. As we said, really got to find a drafting partner here, because that's really going to help you really shoot down that back straight, and watch him for some top speeds here. See what sort of aero packages possibly Giovanni Romano is running versus Devin Peters. But we've got up here above, so Jeff Tyler also in P3, just outside of range of Antonio Alvarez. So it looks like this group here could potentially be our tightest group. And let's see, Alexander Bueller is out of the pits, and as well as John Patrick. So both those guys got their one stop in. John Patrick was in for 42 seconds and Bueller in for 30 seconds. So I think it's too early to kind of decide what the official pit time needs to be. Hunter Reeve also took a stop, and he was in for a little over 40 seconds. So I'm a little worried about Bueller's strategy here in terms of the fuel savings, because that is a very, very short pit stop. I do not want to lose sight of our championship potential winner tonight, Nate Franklin. He is kind of by himself right now. He is he is 6/10. No, my timing is, excuse me, he's 5 seconds behind Giovanni Romano, and P7 Chris Fleming is 7 seconds. So Nate Franklin is really on an island right now, and you know what? I think he's probably okay with that, because Giovanni Romano is just ahead of him, and Giovanni Romano is 2 points back. So I stand corrected. Nate Franklin does need to work his way up to Giovanni Romano in order to claim the championship. So right now, Giovanni Romano is in the... Oh, excuse me. I'm having a difficult reading, guys. I apologize. Nate Franklin is in P2 in points. Giovanni Romano is in P3. So right now, I stand corrected. Nate Franklin will be your championship winner if he finishes in his position right now and does not allow Giovanni Romano to gain any more spots, because Alex Albert, our championship leader, is out of this race. And our P4 in the points, Devin Peters, is currently in 4th position. Oh, you watch Nate Franklin go very wide into the Porsche cars with a bit of a moment there. So Nate Franklin maybe thinking about racing by himself. And he's like, if I just stay here, I've got the championship. But you cannot let your mind wander on this track. However, P5 and P4 battle between Devin Peters and Giovanni Romano has heated up, as Giovanni Romano has pulled within 3/10 of Devin Peters. And you watch, my goodness, Devin Peters smacking the curbs with that forward 2 wheels one side, 2 wheels on the other side. Very impressive drive there. And don't worry, we are not missing any action up front. Thomas Ellison continues to be dominant on this track with running some very good laps. He did a 3:49.9 on that last lap with a slightly quicker Antonio Alvarez with a 3:49.2. However, that gap remains about 2.5 seconds. So our closest batter right now on track is Giovanni Romano and Devin Peters. And again, we're continuing to watch some of these aero packages and what they're running. I just haven't seen Giovanni Romano been getting the kind of the pull he needs. Devin Peters with a fantastic sector right there with a very strong line and a very strong exit out of Tete Rouge. And I just don't think that Giovanni Romano is going to be able to get... He's within a second, but I don't know if that's going to cut enough of a wake for him on that. Would like to work our way a little bit down the field. We have Jonathan Dixon and John Patrick, P13, P14. These two are battling as they are entering the Ford chicane. We see Jonathan Dixon in that beautiful BMW M8. We haven't called out those cars, and a very poor exit by Jonathan Dixon. And we see John Patrick is likely going to take it going into the first big... Oh, my goodness, and very... dangerous move by Jonathan Dixon. I'm not sure if he was aware how fast John Patrick was coming up, but he almost clipped him and took him out. So, unfortunately, our BMW drivers are not having a strong night tonight with a very strong pass by John Patrick, who is down 3 spots. So he's really trying to work his way back up. I do want to make a quick mention for our potential Dick Insider Hard Charger of the race. That is the award given to someone who put down a qualifying lap and gains the most spots in the race. As of right now, it is a tie between P10, Philip Linton, who's up 5 spots, and Devin Peters in P4, who is up 5 spots. If there is a tie, it does go to the highest sitting finisher. So that would be Devin Peters on track right now. So continuing to watch some of these cars go through. I'm watching sector times, and oh, there's a Alexander Bueller again with another big incident right in front of John Patrick here. John Patrick with some very smart driving and gets right past Bueller. Let's take a look at what Bueller did. He is entering the fourth chicane. Hits the 100. My goodness, he did not hit the braking marker. He did not hit the brakes until he hit the 100 mark. So Bueller just kind of missed his braking point and brought a whole bunch of dirt onto the track. So Bueller continues to fall down the grid. He is down 6 spots tonight. So difficult drive for Bueller. Remember, he had an unforced error entering Indianapolis earlier with that spin and then getting hit. Unfortunately, by John Patrick, so a little bit of revenge there. But however, Alexander Bueller is going to have a speed advantage now. Most of these guys with clean cars, no longer that damage to worry about. But Bueller needs to slow down here a little bit and recoup because, man, he really missed his braking point entering the Ford chicane. Both smooth through the Michelin chicane, and they're heading on down to Mulsanne corner where you got to get on those brakes. And Alexander Bueller, hopefully he does not miss his braking point here because that would be unfortunate. All right, still following this battle between Alexander Bueller and John Patrick, as this is our closest battle on track. Again, you are not missing any action up front. That gap between Thomas Ellison and Antonio Alvarez is still right at 2 seconds. However, we just saw Nate Franklin put down a personal best. Nate Franklin just put down a 350.1. So Nate Franklin is feeling quick out there. He has not pitted. Our highest pitter is David Hall in P8. He has pitted. So let's see. No, excuse me. He's pitting right now. So we do have a pitter. David Hall is headed into the pits right now. He was our P8 driver, so he is in the pits. And Justin Hall, so the Hall boys are headed in for the pit side. This is a scheduled stop, no issues, no damage on these cars. So these guys are coming through, getting their service done, and they can head back on track. So we need to start keeping an eye on the rest of the field as we have just over 32 minutes left in this race. And I want to be clear, that is 8 laps. So this is a very, very long track. So these guys are in the pits right now getting their service done. Now, I do want to give some camera time to our leader, Thomas Ellison. If I can ask our director to pop in the car and let's just ride through Tom Ellison through the Michelin chicane here. Tom Ellison, just a very, very dominant drive so far in this race. Taking a look at his lap times, Thomas Ellison is within tenths of every single lap. He's on 39.7, 39.6, 39 or 49.7, 49.6, 49.7, 49.9. Thomas Ellison is driving very consistent out there. His fastest lap of the race was lap 2. But we are continuing to watch the track temperatures are going to keep dropping. It is a brisk 66-degree track temperature right now with a 65-degree ambient. So we are watching that sun go down. As I recall, this race is going to end in the dark. So these guys are going to need to take that into consideration when it comes to any sort of tire, either they take some tires or possibly a tire pressure adjustment to account for almost probably a 5 to 6 degree drop in track temperature. So keep an eye on some of that strategy when the sun goes down. We can go back to the battle between P3 and P4. Devin Peters has made it past Antonio Alvarez. I'm going to take a quick look to see where that happened. Oh my goodness, Antonio Alvarez just made a big error entering Mulsanne corner, and just a big spin, and whoa, and a big avoidance by Devin Peters. So my goodness, Antonio Alvarez with a unforced error there, and that has put him back. Recall, he was right behind Tom Ellison for so many laps, and it was keeping about a 2-second gap. So that promotes Devin Peters to P3, and then Jeff Tyler is now in P2. Jeff Tyler is up 1 spot, so Jeff Tyler won that front of that grid there. But Antonio Alvarez likely could be driving with a bit of the red mist right now because, man, he did not want that to happen. Let's watch them enter into Indianapolis here. Antonio Alvarez, a little more confidence on the brakes. There he goes a little wide, clipping the dirt there. That is okay. Antonio Alvarez, wow, he's got a lot of recovery to do here as we are watching Devin Peters kind of pull away. Devin Peters has already put a second on Antonio Alvarez. Watch Devin Peters smash through these curves. It's so much fun to watch. And yeah, it looks like Antonio Alvarez. Yeah, Antonio Alvarez is taking a pit, so likely very frustrated. Going to go into the pits and take a regroup, think about what he's done to himself, and get some fuel to finish this race. And likely not enough time to take tires. But wow, this is kind of fallen away from him here. This is disappointing to see for Antonio. Let's move up to our newly promoted P2 driver, Jeff Tyler. He is just now leaving Tete Rouge, and he is flying down the first chicane, which he will be hitting the fourth chicane, or excuse me, the first straight, heading down to the fourth chicane with a very large gap to Thomas Ellison. It was 4 seconds up. So right now, our top 6 have not pitted. Philip Linden is up in P8. He is also not pitted, but everybody else all the way back down to Jonathan Dixon in P14 has pitted. So we are just under 30 minutes left in this race, and I think the time to pit is here. So I think plenty of guys taking that opportunity to get those pit stops in and get that car fueled up, and making sure that fast repair box is not checked, because you just don't know what can happen. However, we do have a new fast lap of the race. Antonio Alvarez, before that self-spin, he put down a 3:48.5, stealing that fast lap from Tom Ellison from a previous 3:48.912. So Antonio Alvarez, this is so tough to see after such a blisteringly fast lap, and then to have a self-spin and lose a whole bunch of spots. He is now down 5 spots from where he spotted. So tough incident for Antonio Alvarez. Hopefully he can get a recovery and get a few more of those spots back. Looks like right now our closest battle is going to be between John Patrick and Alexander Bueller between P11 and P12. Bueller is about a second and 2/10 behind John Patrick, but Bueller does have a clean car now. He had that big incident early on with the spin into Indianapolis and got tagged by Justin Hall. But Bueller gets his braking point right here, and no issues in the fourth chicane. He missed that really big braking point earlier, but really good effort. He actually gained a 10th in that second on John Patrick, so he's looking to hunt him down and climb back up. Yeah, Bueller is down 5 spots in this race, starting up in P7, so difficult to see. Now, I do want to call out Philip Linden in P8. He is not pitted, but he's up 7 spots right now, and he is running very well. So fantastic drive for Philip Linden tonight in that green and white Ford GTE. I do want to scan down the field to see where our highest performing BMW is. And yeah, it's just behind Philip Linden in P9. Justin Lamons is in a BMW Big Boy, the M8. He is, Justin Lamons is up 4 spots. He has taken his pit. So I think from what we've seen so far for the BMW drivers, I think this is a good run so far for Justin Lamons in the P9. If he could stay inside the top 10, I would consider that a win for him. So it looks like still no other pitters. Thomas Ellison is still out. Jeff Tyler is still out there. Devin Peters as well. In fact, since we're a little spread out, let's take a quick run through our top 10. So it looks like we have it on the pit. Yeah, Giovanni Romano. Giovanni Romano is now in the pits. So Giovanni Romano was running in that P4 position. That has promoted Nate Franklin up to the P4. So Giovanni Romano is in for a scheduled service. This is no issues here. So he's going to quickly grab some fuel to get through this race. Yeah, it looks like the average pit stop is going to run these guys between about 40 to 42 seconds. The quickest one we saw was Alexander Bueller with 30 seconds. Again, I still have some concerns about that. I'm not sure how he's going to finish this out. So Giovanni Romano, he is fueled. He is ready to go. He's going to come back out on track, and he has been passed by Antonio Alvarez. So he's going to have a little bit of work to do, But Antonio Alvarez, again, he is pitted several laps ago. Yeah, so Antonio Alvarez actually just one lap ahead, so not a big gap on that, but he's got some work to do. But wow, Devin Peters is up 4 spots, and Nate Franklin, our potential championship winner, he is up back to where he started in P. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, he is up 4 spots up to P4. So Nate Franklin continues to climb up this leaderboard and potentially got a championship in his sights. And it looks like we have Justin Lamons is headed down the pit lane again. And this looks to be Justin Lamons' second pit, but I'm likely that this may be a scheduled stop. I believe his first one was to take a fast repair, and this appears to be a scheduled stop. So hopefully Justin Lamons can get his service and get that beautiful BMW M8 back out there. And yeah, he's going to come out. I'm watching the gap here. Yeah, he's going to come out, way in front of Jordan Babcock. He's going to kind of come out here by himself and have a bit of a leisurely drive for the rest of the race. So let's go back through the field and see where our closest battles could possibly be. I still do think it's going to be... Yeah, it's going to be between Alexander Buehler and John Patrick. Alexander Buehler is still trying to hunt down John Patrick. That gap is a little under 2 seconds right now. And then in front of Alexander Buehler is Justin Hall. So we've got these guys, they're all spread out. They're about 8 seconds total from each other. So there's any opportunities, should somebody make a slight mistake, anybody make a braking error, that will get one of these guys back in there. It looks like we have another pitter. Yep, Jordan Babcock is now visiting his pit lane in that also another BMW field. So BMW's not having a good night, but it looks like everybody's keeping it clean. So Jordan Babcock down in P16. He's unfortunately down 2 spots tonight. So Babs Nation, again, having a very difficult another evening at the racetrack. So hopefully Season 25, Babcock Nation can revitalize, rebuild, and come out just as strong as we've seen him in the mid-season. Quickly popping back up to P2, Jeff Tyler. He is unfortunately not really chipped away anything on time else. Oh, we have Devin Peters. Devin Peters, P3. Devin Peters, P3 is now dipping into pit lane, as well as Nate Franklin. So both these guys really looking to get their stops on with 20 minutes left in this race. I'm sure Nate Franklin is thinking about a potential drafting partner. Devin Peters has been very, very strong in this race, being up 6 positions right now. So Nate Franklin likely following suit, making sure that he's going to keep the pace and stay right on him. I don't know if Nate Franklin could possibly look to short fill just a little bit to give himself possibly another 10th. I think it'd be a little bit risky here because he's not within draft range. So Devin Peters is away, and we are so that, and then Nate Franklin is also away. So very quick, an expedient stop for both of those guys. They are in and out, and Giovanni Romano has made his way past Nate Franklin. So Nate Franklin going to have to make a very strong post-pit stop drive here to get back up to Giovanni Romano. Keeping a close eye on other battles on the track. It looks like Justin Hall and Philip Linden. Philip Linden has now dipped into the pits. He was one of the final cars out there. So Jonathan Dixon, Jeff Tyler, and Thomas Ellison are our remaining cars that have not pitted right now. So only just a handful of cars out there left, and we've just seen Justin Hall do his fastest lap of the race. That is a 3:50.624. So congratulations to Justin Hall. 20 minutes left in this race, putting down a fast lap. I do want to call it Chris Flamion. Chris Flamion, we don't usually call out Chris Fleming too much in some of these road races. Chris Fleming is really improved himself as a road racer. Most recently, his shenanigans are most known on the oval track. But right now, due to pit cycles, Chris Fleming is all the way up to P3. So kudos to Chris Fleming with a very consistent drive tonight. Now, his lap times are about 2 seconds off our top two, Thomas Ellison and Jeff Tyler. But that doesn't matter because right now, to say that you are in P3 is a pretty good thing to say. Now, I'll be interested to see where he comes out once the pit cycles do come through. So he really is by himself. He is a full 30 seconds behind Jeff Tyler, and he's got Antonio Alvarez 16 seconds behind that. So, and then short behind that is Devin Peters, Giovanni Romano, and Nate Franklin. So I really think if Fleming goes in, there's a very good chance he will come out in front of Justin Hall in P8, which will put him just a few spots down from where he started in P5. But I think that's probably going to be okay with Chris Fleming as we watch him come through and approach this very dangerous and also exciting and rewarding Indianapolis corner right there. And we're really starting to see the sun go down. Oh, Chris Fleming gets very close to the tire wall, exiting Mulsanne there. So good drive by there. So what, as I said, we're watching the sunset here. This is what we love about Le Mans. We're watching the sun go down. We're going to see as he comes out of here. You enter the Ford chicane and come to the Dunlop curbs. That very famous eye-blinding glare. These guys are going to start running into some of that. Chris Fleming with a very nice drive there. So again, we're keeping an eye on pit lane, and we do have a new fast lap of the race. Antonio Alvarez has reclaimed the fast lap of the race with a 3:48.5. And it looks like it's happened. So Thomas Ellison is in the pits, and Jeff Tyler has followed suit. So let's see if either of these guys are willing to take a risk on potentially short filling just a little bit. Yeah, and also Chris Fleming isn't. Okay, so that's going to potentially leave P4 Devin Peters. Let's watch Devin Peters. How much work can he do? Well, these guys are in the pits. He's going to... Oh, and unfortunately, Devin Peters is completely blown. He's completely blown the Ford chicane. That's likely going to be a slowdown. So unfortunately, he's not going to see any gains from that. And Thomas Ellison and Jeff Tyler are away. Unfortunate incident for Devin Peters right there. So now we're going to keep an eye on... Oh, and Chris Fleming looks like he has missed his pit lane. That's going to really drop him down too. So, all sorts of incidents kind of happening in pit lane here. Yeah, Chris Fleming had to back up in his pit lane. So I worry that his opportunity to stay in front of Justin Hall may be dwindling. He's coming out of his pit lane right now. And yeah, it looks like he's going to... Looks like he's going to be okay. I was wrong. My timing is a little bit off. Yeah, he's going to be well ahead. So Justin Hall is going to remain behind Chris Fleming, who is going to continue to secure a P7 spot. So he's still trying to gain some spots. But our entire field now has pitted. Our entire field is pitted, and right now we have 15 minutes, or excuse me, just under 16 minutes left in this race, roughly 5 laps. So it is go time for all these guys. Right now, the sun's going to go down. The track temperature is currently matching ambient, so it is 65 degrees on that track, and that is very, very chilly when it comes to putting some heat in these tires and making sure you're hitting your braking points and getting maximum grip out of some of these fast sections like the Porsche curves, where that is so important. So let's go back up to Thomas Ellison. Just again, we don't want to miss our leader here because he has been dominant from lap 1. Again, he was a little behind Antonio Alvarez, made a quick pass, and he has been here since the beginning. But also, I do not want to forget about our potential championship winner right now, Nate Franklin, who is currently running in P5. P5 position is going to give him the championship. Giovanni Romano is just behind Nate Franklin. It is a 2-point difference. However, Giovanni Romano is in front of Nate Franklin. That is not going to be enough for him. So Nate Franklin holds this position, doesn't make any mistakes. He will be your winner tonight. Now, the battle is going to continue for Devin Peters and Giovanni Romano, who's going to take the second rung on that, because there is a 5-point difference. So right now, Devin Peters does not have enough of a gap on Giovanni Romano in order to take that spot away. So that could potentially be a swing spot in the final championship points here. We're continuing to watch on track. It looks like, yeah, Alexander Bueller has gone very quick into sectors 1 and 2. He's gone purple into sector 2. So Alexander Bueller really trying to put down some of his best laps and keeping a close eye on Nate Franklin here. He's gaining some time on Giovanni Romano. So he's 1.3 seconds away right now. I'm trying to figure out where he is gaining that time. Yeah, Giovanni Romano is kind of struggling in sectors 2 and 3. Let's watch them as they go through the Porsche curves here. Nate Franklin had almost a big incident here earlier. Giovanni Romano go very wide at the first part of the S's there. You hear those guys lift off the throttle. Watch Nate tap the brakes. Just getting the car to settle. Very nice line there. And then you crank the wheel as hard as you can right there. You can swing it out as much as you can. You can get a course cut exiting right there coming out of karting, but there's a lot of leniency. So Nate Franklin, plenty of room, no issues there. Coming in, smack the curb there, and then take as much curb as you can here and get that throttle down. Nate Franklin, a strong drive. And yeah, Nate Franklin lost just a little bit of time in those final sectors there. So he was 1.3 entering sectors 5, 6, and 7. He is now down to up to 1.7 seconds. So let's see which sections Nate Franklin was stronger than Giovanni Romano, because those last 3 sectors he's having a difficult time. Looks like we have a few more cars in the pits again. We can stay on Nate Franklin, but we got a few more cars. We've got David Hall is again in pit lane. Again, probably an unfortunate incident. And Alexander Bueller is also in pit lane going over 100 miles an hour. I'm not entirely sure what has occurred there, but it appears Alexander Bueller has a brake failure entering the pit lane, and he has gone very fast into pit lane. And I imagine Alexander Bueller had at least a 15-second penalty entering the pit lane there. So I unfortunately think Alexander Bueller's race is probably done for today. Let's move back up to that battle between Giovanni Romano and Devin Peters, P4 and P3. Giovanni Romano has clawed his way up to Devin Peters. He's about 7/10. Keep in mind, we have 10 minutes left in this race, so this is go time for Giovanni Romano. We're going to watch who's got the better line here. Giovanni Romano, nice apex. Maybe not as strong of an exit as Devin Peters. Devin Peters, we observed him being very strong in the Forza chicane as well as the Michelin chicane. But we both know the Porsche is always a little bit stronger under braking. So let's watch both these cars as they come up to Mulsanne Corner. There's Giovanni Romano nice and close. Devin Peters smacking that cone. You watch how deep Giovanni Romano can get on the chase. My goodness, look at that. He closed up to almost 4/10 right there on Devin Peters. He's going to get a very good run. He is within draft range, so let's keep an eye on the speeds here. He's already got a bit of an advantage going here. Yeah, not a big advantage for Giovanni Romano. He may be running a little more wing, just about a 2-mile-an-hour difference on the speed. So yeah, Giovanni Romano probably running a little bit more wing. And now let's watch to see who's got the confidence here. Devin Peters smacking that corner. Very different lines. Giovanni Romano right kind of in the middle there. Devin Peters a little stronger exit. And Devin Peters taking it very wide. Antonio Alvarez, or excuse me, Giovanni Romano a little more conservative on the line there. So yes, unfortunately, when he got a nice gain, almost 4/10 on Devin Peters between sectors 3 and 4. He's lost it again and back up to about 7/10 as they enter the Porsche curves. Nice entrance and exit for both drivers. Trying to see who's got the advantage here. And Giovanni Romano is very light on the throttle, but he hasn't really hit it there. So watching the sector times here, yeah, it looks like, yeah, Devin Peters is still just a hair quick again. We're watching the Ford just really be able to stretch its legs here. Again, the tight stuff the Ford does not like, but those big sweeping, probably third gear and higher corners, that Ford is really going to beat some of these shorter wheelbase cars like this Porsche RSR. And sent with the BMW, and I'm trying to see if we can find where our highest running BMW is, because I really think it's going to be, yeah, Justin Lamons in P11 is our highest running BMW. I think, unfortunately, a bunch of our BMW drivers have fallen off tonight. Yeah, Jordan Babcock, unfortunately, has now parked the car. So, yeah, our BMW contingency is a bit low tonight. And we do have Jonathan Dixon in P14, also in the BMW. So, not a good night for the BMW drivers. Back up to P3, P4, Devin Peters. He's still trying to run away. Giovanni Romano was right on his heels, so he's not letting him go. Okay, let's watch those speeds as we go down here. So Giovanni Romano was, yeah, he was slower than Devin Peters in sectors 5, 6, and 7. So really needs to figure out how to find some opportunity there on Devin Peters. As you guys see, we do have the headlights on now. That sun is going down as it is likely way past dusk here. Local time. So yeah, it is just past. Yeah, it is just past 7 o'clock local time at the track. So we got headlights on, and there are not a lot of track lights here. So you want to make sure those headlights are working, because those are going to be your eyes when the sun goes down. So we are going to see some more darkness as we've got 7 minutes left in this race. And we watch Devin Peters get a pretty bad line through the Michelin chicane right there, and that has put Giovanni Romano right on his bumper. He is within 4/10, and he is absolutely within drafting range. And if Giovanni Romano is going to make a move, it is going to be in the Mulsanne corner. But we've seen him be a lot stronger. Now, Devin Peters being defensive, Giovanni Romano, yeah, he's going to lift. He's going to lift, so he's going to go ahead and allow him to run. So Giovanni Romano take it nice and wide early on the throttle. I don't quite know if Antonio or Giovanni Romano thinks he can get a better run out of here, because we've both seen that he just does not have the top speed that Devin Peters has. But he's going to try it. I just don't know if Indianapolis is the best place in order to make that move. But that is why Giovanni Romano is down there and I am up here, because he knows how to work that car. He knows how to drive it. Nice big lift. Again, Devin Peters paying very close attention to what Giovanni Romano is looking to do down there. And Devin Peters, again, I'm still thinking, taking the preferred line. Look how wide Devin Peters is taking that section. And Giovanni Romano a little tighter, but Devin Peters, again, gets a very, very good run out of it right there. So going through Arnage and coming up to the Porsche curves, where the Ford will be the preferred car here. Okay, we have just over 6 minutes left in this race, and that is right at about 2 laps. I do want to pop up to our leader, Thomas Ellison. We haven't talked much about him tonight, but there's not a lot to say other than he has led this race and dominated from the absolute get-go. He has taken that gap from Jeff Tyler all the way up to 5 seconds. We've seen this gap as low as 4.5 seconds. But Thomas Ellison, I just don't see any wavering right now, as this has been an extremely dominant drive. I know Thomas Ellison has had a very difficult season 14, crashing out of a few races, but this would be a fantastic bookend to his season, saying, I am still here, I am still extremely competitive, and when you put me in a car that I know Thomas Ellison is a strong and fantastic driver, as we are seeing what he is doing here tonight at Le Mans. Scanning down my leaderboard, we have got ourselves a battle. We have got Antonio Alvarez and Nate Franklin battle for P5 and P6. And let's not forget again, Nate Franklin, he is battling for the championship at this point, but he is up 3 spots in P5. So if I was Nate Franklin, I'd be very careful with what Antonio Alvarez is doing. If Antonio Alvarez wants to make a move, I would let him go at this point because Nate Franklin doesn't want to take any risks. And yeah, Antonio Alvarez is going to go ahead and lift. Go ahead and lift. So Nate Franklin, no worries, headed into the Forza chicane here. Nice and early, nice and smooth. Nate Franklin taking it nice and easy. So looks like Antonio Alvarez gets a pretty good run. Nate Franklin just running his line. I'm guessing Antonio Alvarez is going to make a look here. Yep, he is. Let's keep an eye on Nate Franklin, how he's going to behave with Antonio Alvarez making move. The move is complete. Nate Franklin, just by the speed he passed, I assume Nate Franklin likely lifted there. So I think Nate Franklin is seeing the writing on the wall that he may be the championship winner here and just making sure that he keeps the car clean and keeps it straight with just a little over 1.5 laps left. We are going to stick with this battle here, although I don't think we're going to see anything too competitive from Nate Franklin or even really looking to challenge Antonio Alvarez. But we do have Giovanni Romano and Devin Peters just in front of them. So maybe if Antonio Alvarez is feeling feisty, he may try and work his way up there. Nate Franklin wouldn't mind the tow either. So we have 4 cars here, P3, P4, P5, and P6, that are catching each other pretty quick here at the front. But I am keeping an eye on our leader, Thomas Ellison. He is approaching the Porsche curves now, so he's going to take these Porsche curves 2 more times. He's going to take it right here, and he's going to take it 1 more time. And if he keeps it clean, Thomas Ellison will go from checker to checker, or excuse me, from green flag to checker as the leader and potential winner of this race. So great drive by Thomas Ellison. And we are watching, again, this battle for 4 cars here. Devin Peters, Giovanni Romano, Antonio Alvarez, and Nate Franklin. All 3 of these cars are battling it with just 1 lap left as Thomas Ellison is approaching the Ford chicane. And Thomas Ellison should get the white flag on this lap. Very conservative into that section right there. He's got the headlights on. And I'm guessing this is probably his white flag lap here. So Thomas Ellison with an extremely oh, and Nate Franklin, oh my goodness, Nate Franklin has lost it coming out of the Porsche curves. Oh, there's a spin. Oh my goodness, was that Devin Peters? Oh my goodness, it was. So Devin Peters has lost it out of the Porsche curves, went sideways, and then Nate Franklin just T-boned Devin Peters. Oh my goodness, these are championship implications of what we've just seen. So Nate Franklin, I'm trying to see where Nate Franklin is towing. Nate Franklin is towing. So championship implications right now. So Giovanni Romano, that changes everything. Giovanni Romano is currently running in P4 on the white flag lap. And Nate Franklin and Devin Peters. Nate Franklin was in P2. Devin Peters in P4 in points. So my goodness, this could potentially put Giovanni Romano as the championship winner on the white flag. There's just Devin Peters he just got loose coming out of those Porsche curves. As we were talking about, it's an area where you really kind of tap the throttle to settle the car to make sure that it's settled and ready for that corner. Then you hit into those 2 off-camber sections, and he just got loose, smacked the wall, and was just sitting in the middle of the track. And likely before the car got settled, he could not hit the reset button. Nate Franklin just T-boned him. Oh my goodness, this is heartbreaking for Nate Franklin to see that happen. And Devin Peters, both of those guys really competing for top spots. So I'm not really sure how that's going to shake out everybody else, but I really think that Giovanni Romano has a very good chance of taking the championship here tonight. He is currently in P4. He is following Antonio Alvarez right now as they are entering the... they're entering the Michelin chicane. Wow, I am just blown away what has happened in this last lap. But let's go up to our leader, Thomas Ellison. He has driven an absolutely stunning race, just from start to finish. Consistent. The car is clean. It looks fantastic. He has been within 1 to 2 tenths every single lap. Extremely consistent. He had a quick battle with Antonio Alvarez at the beginning. Devin Peters was looking to hunt him down. Devin Peters had a bit of an incident, but Thomas Ellison is completely by himself right now. He is heading into Indianapolis. Nice clean line right there. Again, Tommy's running a little bit slow here, but I think he knows that he is about to take a checkered flag. So very responsible lines out of there. Yeah, Jeff Tyler is gaining some time. Jeff Tyler is just under 4 seconds now, which is the closest he has been this entire race. But I think Tom Ellison is probably on cruise control. He's probably okay on fuel. His stop was right in line with everybody else's. Let's watch Tom nice and easy through the Porsche curves here. We saw Devin Peters with a massive incident here. Devin Peters, again, he had a very clean line here. But this is where Devin Peters lost it. We are off throttle. There's some off throttle oversteer, and that's where it all ended for Devin Peters and championship ended for Nate Franklin. So Tom Ellison, very conservative, nice and clean right there. Go through karting. Thomas Ellison approaching the Ford chicane for the last time of season 24, round 9 of the Reddit iRacing League. Thomas Ellison, an absolutely dominant drive tonight. And watch out for the spinning car up here. That appears to be, yeah, I couldn't see who that was. But wow, Thomas Ellison, what a drive tonight. And let's take a quick look back here. So Giovanni Romano and Antonio Alvarez, yeah, that is split up. But Jeff Tyler is also across the line. Antonio Alvarez working his way through the Ford chicane, taking it nice and slow, and he's going to finish out his race as well. So, my goodness, everybody coming through right now. I'm trying to see any other close battles on track. We are still pretty spread out. Yeah, it looks like our closest battle could possibly be between Philip Linden and Justin Lammers, but those guys are very, very spread out. So, wow, my goodness, I am speechless of what I saw at the very end of the race here between Nate Franklin and Devin Peters. I think that was probably the moment of the race of where it just all ended for him. That is just heartbreak. I'm sure Nate Franklin is going to be absolutely devastated with that. I'm sure Devin Peters is going to be equally frustrated with how that turned out for him. So, wow, what a finish. What a finish. And we're watching the rest of these cars come through. It looks like everybody else, the back of the pack is still. So John, all the up through P7 is now finished. John Patrick just now crossing the line. Oh my goodness, Devin Peters has had another. Devin Peters has had another incident. He's spun going into karting. It looks like he's rolling. I'm not entirely sure if he's had an issue. Devin Peters is stuck trying to get the car into gear. Yeah, he's trying to get through. So Nate Franklin is also on track. Nate Franklin coming through. Trying to see who else. Philip Linden is still on track. Nate Franklin's still on track. Yeah, Nate Franklin really watching his corners here as he is a car sitting across the track. Last time he saw that. And it looks like Devin Peters was able to get the car straight again, but just disastrous finish for Nate Franklin and Devin Peters. My goodness, that is so hard to see. Let's see, Philip Linden coming through. And followed by that will be Justin Lemons in that beautiful BMW. And he's coming through right now. And we still do have one more BMW on track, Jonathan Dixon, but he is just coming through a bit late. So, wow, what a race, what a finale. As with every single race we have seen so far in the Reddit iRacing League of Season 24, there's been drama left and right, and there definitely was nothing short of that tonight. So I'm going to pop out really quick and see if I can grab some of our top drivers here. Thomas Ellison, Jeff Tyler, and Antonio Alvarez are our top 3 tonight. My goodness, what a drive. Let me see if I can grab those guys really quick, and we can have a word with our winner.
Oh, really? It took off?
Thomas Ellison. Thomas Ellison, sir, you have won a fantastic race tonight. What a drive. Congratulations on P1 dominance from the get-go. Thomas, tell us about your drive tonight.
Hey guys, good evening. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I really love this combination of cars and of track. I love Le Mans as a track. I know some people find it boring because it's a lot of straight line, and but there are, I think, some challenging turns in there. And I was lucky enough that I grabbed pole just by a whisker from Antonio, and then was able to get away a little bit when Antonio just started squabbling in the first part of the race. And then it was just a question of keep hitting my marks, keep maintaining my lines, and no mistakes to the end. But that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Tom, I want to say, kind of racing out there by yourself again with such a lead of almost over 4 seconds for the majority of the race. You had such consistent lap times. What's the key for staying consistent around here? Because there's so many opportunities to where you're just driving in a straight line, you can really lose your focus. How were you able to stay so consistent the entire race?
So I just focusing on hitting my marks, like pick out your braking markers exactly at the same time every single lap. You know exactly where you're going to be hitting the brakes, braking a straight line. Just being careful and smooth with the car, no over rotation turn in, and just making sure everything is consistent. And I don't know, I had some little troubles. Discord quit just before the start of the race, and then my JRT crashed halfway through, so I had to Alt tab and reboot that down the Mulsanne about lap 7. But luckily everything worked out, and it was nice to get the win.
Well, again, Tom, fantastic drive tonight. Again, I know you've had a bit of a difficult season 24. We are so happy to see you with such a strong drive and a strong finish tonight. Any thanks or shout-outs before you leave the booth?
Well, I mean, it's the last race of the season, so thank you for everyone who's participated this season. It's been great to have such competition and participation. Congratulations. I think Giovanni has clinched the championship. So congratulations to him, two-time winner. That's very impressive. And commiserations to Alex, Nate, and Devon. I think they were all in the hunt up to this final round. It's really great to have such competition. And thanks to you guys in the booth. I love having these races broadcast. I think it adds a lot to the league, and we really appreciate your time and efforts in doing so. So thank you to everybody.
Thank you, Tom. And now we're going to move on to our P2 driver, Jeff Tyler. Jeff, sir, kind of a quiet race for you, but there were some incidents in front of you and just some opportunistic points gained. Talk us through your race tonight.
Hey, guys. Yeah, like you said, not too eventful. Had a little scrap in the first few laps with Antonio. I think he was a little bit faster than me, so I tried not to fight him too much and just let him do his thing, but we went back and forth a couple of times. And then eventually he had his little spin, so that kind of let me. And yeah, from then on out, it was pretty quiet. I do want to echo what you guys said and wish my friend Tom a heartfelt congratulations. That's just a fantastic drive, one of the best I've ever seen in this league. And you guys know I've been here a long time, as has Tom. So that was a really fantastic drive. So nice job, Tom.
Yeah, Jeff, talk us through the advantages of driving the Porsche here, because this track is typically preferred to the Ford GT and the BMW brand new M8 that we get. That really can stretch our legs here. Talk us through the advantages the Porsche has on this track.
It seemed to me like, in my very limited experience, which was basically just today, the Porsche, I think, was a little faster in the slow stuff. So over on Indianapolis and whatever it is, the hairpin, is that Arnage or something, I would I'd be able to catch Tom a little bit there, and then he'd kind of pull away through the rest of the course. So I think that Ferrari is pretty slippery here.
Well, Jeff, we appreciate the word, sir. Congratulations on a P2. It's a shame we couldn't have seen you more in the RiL Championship tonight. So, Jeff, thanks for the word, sir, and hopefully we'll see you next season.
Thanks, man. I hope so, too. Glad to be here. Take care.
And now we will move on to P3. Antonio Alvarez, sir, you started in P2, worked your way all the way back up after some pit stop cycles and a bit of dramas on track and some traffic and everything. Why not talk us through your night? But again, you cannot be disappointed with another very strong podium finish for you. We've seen a few of those for you this season.
Yeah, it's a bittersweet sensation for this race, really, because the pace was there. Qualifying went really well, pretty close to Tom, but mistakes really hampered my effort this time, and they were pretty unforced mistakes. So yeah, bittersweet race.
Yeah, Antonio, talk us through again. You had we saw one spin you had coming out of Mulsanne corner. Was that just a bit of braking too late? Did you get on the gas too early? What caused that spin coming out of Mulsanne?
Yeah, it was too much brake at the end. I pretty much brake every single time in the same spot, but in that lap I pushed too hard, and well, it went to the right, and that was it.
Well, we really enjoyed watching your recovery drive as you showed at Le Mans. You can have a spin, have an issue, and get all your spots back, and with a very strong P3 drive. So, Antonio, we really loved watching you tonight in a fantastic drive. Any thanks or shout-outs before you leave tonight?
Yeah, thank you for everyone that will make this championship possible. It's pretty fun every single time, and I hope you see guys the next season.
Okay. Thank you, Antonio. We hope to see you out here next season. And everyone, that is going to wrap it up for season 24 of the Reddit iRacing League. What a finish. Again, I don't want to make a official call on the championship points yet, but as Tom Ellison noted, I do believe that we are going to see that Giovanni Romano is likely going to take the championship due to a very big incident between Nate Franklin and Devin Peters at the very end. So, as always, you can check out the Reddit iRacing League at reddit.com/RIL. And you guys can join, look at the schedule. I'm sure we'll have some fun off-season activities, and you can subscribe and watch all of our past broadcasts and check all the past seasons. Season 24, we have done quite a few. So I want to thank everyone for watching tonight. Thank anybody for in there commenting out there. We really appreciate it. And also dealing with me as a one-man show tonight. And as always, Michael Derby behind the scenes, pushing all the buttons, making this broadcast look fantastic. So we hope to see you guys very soon with season 25 of the Reddit iRacing League, which I'm sure will get fired up very soon. And as soon as that happens, I can't wait to call the next one. So everybody have a fantastic evening and hope to see you guys soon.